District 33 State Representative Ben Robbins joins us this morning. And Ben, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Jimmy Dale.
You're out mighty early as you usually are.
All right.
Talk about a little bit about the campaign, how it's going. We've got the election midterm election coming up in just a few weeks now.
Well, we're less than a month away. They're November the 8th. So everyone knows that might not be aware, I'm your current state representative for District 33. That's part of Talladega and now all of Coosa County. And I'll be on the ballot November the 8th as the Republican nominee. And I would just appreciate everyone's vote on November the 8th. But, in terms of the campaign and election, we are, nearing the home stretch. And there's still more people to meet and some more communities to get to and just talk to voters. So I'm excited. I think we have a good message, and I think we have a positive message. I mean, we all know the problems we have in our society and our culture, but the kind of person that I am is, which I think is what we want someone to say, we know their problems, but what are you going to do to solve them? And I want to be solution oriented as opposed to just problem.
One thing that's exciting is the announcement this week about the old Avondale Mills property here in town.
I mean, that's exciting. That's something that, when I campaigned, I campaigned on a couple things. I campaigned on workforce development, that we need to rethink the way we educate, and we need to make sure that we're training our children so they can be good employees. Mm-hmm. And I also talked about infrastructure, which includes broadband, and just quality of life issues on how we need to improve the quality of life. And so Avondale ties directly into that. It was something that the people that live in the Mill Village are good people. There are a lot of good people there, and they shouldn't have to look at that site every day and have to live with that. It depreciates home values. It hurts our whole overall economy. And that was something that on day one, I hit the ground in Montgomery talking about. And, Margaret Morton, Joe Morton, and Glenn Sisk, and Suzanne Lacey and I were able to go to the governor's office, and we made a request, and I explained, I laid out why it would be so beneficial to us to help build the Earth Project, and they invested in it. So it's exciting, and since that day, we've had meetings across the state with leaders to help raise more money to get the project built.
The old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. You just can't snap your fingers and get things done either.
Right, you can't. And we have government regulations, bureaucracy. So, even when we got the money, we had to do a phase 1 environmental study, a phase 2 environmental study. Then we had to work with EPA on those. And so it's just one step, another step, and then sometimes it's a step back, and then it's another step back, then 2 steps forward. But we always knew it was going to happen, and so everyone knows on Monday, the Talladega County Board of Education accepted a bid from G&H Ventures, which actually came in under budget, which means we're going to have an extra about $400,000.
And that's unusual.
It is unusual. It's exciting. I mean, especially in today's age with inflation. So they have 30 days with the board to finalize the contract. They've accepted the bid, and then 30 days from the date of the finalization and signing of the contract to mobilize. So that means no later than 60 days from Mondays, there will be trucks on site, because they have to mobilize within 30 days with the finalization of the contract, which means by the end of the year, there should be trucks out there starting the process of demoing Avondale Mills.
Well, it's been a long haul, that is for sure, but good things are ahead, not just for that property, but for the future of B.B. Comer School and SAFE and all that kind of stuff.
Right, I mean, it's exciting. The whole thing is exciting. It's a big project, big goals, but, I believe you have to think big. I mean, like you said, Rome wasn't built in a day. The loss of textile jobs and the loss of textile mills and what it's done to our small communities across the South, specifically here, we think that what we can do here in Talladega County is create a model for growth that could not just work in rural parts of Alabama, but rural parts across the South. And I think we're going to start the journey, which will be an example for all other communities across the state in the South.
I'm sure it was somewhat of a learning curve for you in your first term in Montgomery, first full term in Montgomery. What have you gleaned out of that makes you a better fit for another term?
I've learned, well, I was joking yesterday, I was in Montgomery and I saw the majority leader, the Republican majority leader, and some of the incoming members, which I'll actually now have seniority over. And I was joking with him. I said, well, in 2 years, I've learned where the bathroom is and who not to say certain things to. And the majority leader was nice, and he's like, you're just being modest. But what I have learned is that it's everything in life. If you're honest with people and you actually work hard, that's what matters. If you can look someone in the eye and say, I read this bill, I know what it means, and I don't agree with you on this. I think that's what will help you and help you achieve more things for your district.
Talk a little bit, Ben, if you would, about some of the other accomplishments that have taken place the last 2 years under your leadership.
I'm excited about where we're going and where we're going to be. Specifically in Coosa County, I'm excited. Not just there's the big announcement for Avondale Mills, which will be transformational, but also for Coosa County this week. The announcement of we were able to get the health department reopened. So Coosa County was the only county in the state without a health department.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm excited that we were able to get the health department back. I was able to talk to Scott Harris, the director of the Alabama Department of Public Health, and explain the need for a health department.
What does that mean for Coosa County?
That means that just the services that you can get at a health department, the citizens of Coosa County had to go to either South Talladega County or they had to go to Alex City to go to the health department. Now they will have one in Rockford again. And so it will provide all the services that you normally get from a health department, which means access to care, which they did not have in Coosa County. And we also were able to get, we were also able to get a bill passed we got an agreement with Forever Wild to increase tax revenue for Coosa County. So I'm excited about those things. Also, which one thing we still desperately need to work on is the internet. And that's something that we have made strides with. Just recently, the governor announced an $82 million grant program it'll go to all the co-ops across the state. So that means that Coosa Valley and Central Electric are going to get a piece of that $82 million, which is going to help Coosa Valley run their fiber all the way to Fayetteville and help Central Electric run it all the way up towards, Weogufka, towards the Talladega County line. But there's still going to be pockets and areas without the internet, and it's still going to take time to build out. The state we just started another $25 million grant program through ADECA, and the federal government is giving us another over $100 million that we'll give out next year. And so the key will be angling to make sure that Coosa Valley, Silicotta Utilities, Central Electric are the ones getting this money. But that's something that I want to desperately continue to work on, and those are some things that we've done that I think are going to make a big difference.
You are a friend of farmers as well.
I am. I think that one, without farmers, we can't feed ourselves or clothe ourselves. So, the fact that we're wearing these clothes today, we wouldn't, without a farmer, we wouldn't be able to do that. And infrastructure and what we've been talking about is still vitally important to farmers. Without healthcare, without internet, without roads, you can't get your product to market. You can't get a quality of life. You can't get certain services. You still even have to have those for farmers. And I have a bill that I'm actually going to introduce this next session that's going to be a tax cut for farmers because of the rising inflation and the fact that all their goods cost more. The whole trickle down. By the time, it costs a farmer more, by the time it gets to the store, it's more expensive for you. Well, if you could cut certain taxes for farmers on the front end, that will keep the price down is my goal.
You have been described as a true conservative. Does that fit?
I would say it fits. I believe in a limited government. I believe in the rights of individuals. I believe that a person knows best what is in their best interest. And a relationship, and it's not the government's role, but a individual's relationship with Jesus Christ is the most important and what should dictate how they live their life. And we should hope that all our citizens can have a relationship with Jesus, and they can then have a knowledge of how to be a good citizen within our country.
It seemed like in every corner of our society, individual rights are being stripped from us. You're a strong proponent of defending our rights.
I am a strong proponent of defending our rights. Our rights, our rights are given to us by God, and our country, has to regulate, because some people, you're going to have bad apples. You're going to have people that break the law, and you have to have certain rules to work within. But we can't take those rights away from people. Because people will always, they're inalienable rights that are given to you, and you have to, the government cannot take those away from you. That's a period. But what we can do is we need to make sure that we as people operate not within a place where we hurt someone else's rights.
There's a fear among Americans today, including Alabamians, that we give up our guns, the bad guys get the guns, and then what do?
I mean, I think that, let's look at what's happening in Ukraine. I think that is the example of why you have the Second Amendment. I mean, the fact that in Ukraine they are outgunned, outmanned, outmatched by the Russian army, but the citizens of Ukraine are taking up arms to fight their invader. That's why we had the Second Amendment, because our forefathers foresaw that possibility of, at that time, the British Army coming, and us as a country could not outmatch the British Army at that time, so our citizens needed to be able to defend themselves. And you have a basic right to defend yourself within your home as well. But, I think just look at Ukraine and you can see why the Second Amendment is so important.
No doubt about it. Ben Robbins, running for re-election for the State House in Montgomery, District 33, and you have now the full county of Coosa County.
Right.
Now, do you still have portions of Clay as well?
I mean, up until Election Day. So that's actually one of the things that I'm going to be the most sad about, actually, is that I'm going to lose Clay County.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I was able to make some progress with Clay County. Talking about the internet, I helped get a grant for Coosa Valley that will serve, the Millerville area, and I helped Jared Wesley, the superintendent there, with a $1 million grant to turn the old armory into their career tech center. So, I mean, the future in Clay County is bright as well. And that's something that I'm very excited about, that the career tech center that's going to happen at the armory in Clay County, and that Coosa County just reopened their career tech center. So we're going to be training children now to enter the workforce. And, it's not going to happen overnight, but we have the sites being built and prepped or already reopened, and those are some exciting things. So yes, now I no longer have Clay, but I have all of Coosa, so up to the Tallapoosa and Elmore County lines.
Talk this morning a few moments about the importance of a strong legislature and a strong legislator to secure funding for our schools.
It's vitally important because there's only so much. The pot is only so big, and I don't think legislators in Montgomery want to increase that pot, because the only way to do that is to tax you more. So we want to maintain the taxes that we have, and that pot is only so big. And so you need legislators that will basically fight and make sure that you get your fair share and then some of that funding. Finally, this morning, last 60 seconds, why should people go to the polls in November midterm elections and re-elect you as at the State House in District 33? Because I don't think there will be anybody that will work harder and care about your interests more than I will. And I think I've already shown some signs of progress that we're making, and I really do care about you. And you can call me at 205-907-5091, and I'll talk with you.
All right, Ben Robbins, our guest this morning. Ben, always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you so much, Jimmy Dale.
More Daybreak coming up right after this.